Are we in the house? Okay, let's go. So what are the components of a dress? What makes up a dress? No. I said, okay, let me rephrase the question. What are the basic patterns that makes up a dress? Executive students. Basic pattern that makes up a dress. Okay, I just want somebody to bail everybody out, just one person. Basic bodies, thank you. And the skirt, and the sleeve, thank you. Can we give her a round of applause, please? That's it. So we have the basic bodies, which contains the center front and the center back. We have the basic skirt, which contains what? Thank you. And we have our basic sleeve. From there, you can start manipulating. You can start contouring. You can start bringing in your designs. Your level of creativity at this level will show. But before you start, manipulating, there is something that happens in the process of making these patterns. Once you have this script, then the next thing that comes to mind is contouring. Are you familiar with the word contouring? Yes. Oh, executive, they are answering me. So I think we'll just keep rolling. At the same time, we'll be coming back to beginners. We have what we call contouring. When you contour, from contouring, you can start designing. When you are done designing, you can start manipulating. You can alter, you can fix it. When I say alter, you can plus or minus a design. When I say plus or minus a design, I'm talking about you adding to this design. Like what I'm wearing now, I can choose to want to put flowers. Remove this one here and put it somewhere around here. Or I should even add to it. That is alteration. I can add to it and add another flower to this place. That is when all of these things comes in place. Okay, like this. Thank you, Mr. Ayo. This is a jumpsuit with cape. Let me look at where we have okay, this is manipulation. This is before this manipulation comes in place, contouring has taken place. After contouring, you have the design. Okay, contouring is a process of you taking it away from basic pattern to a more designed pattern. I don't want to say contour. Contour is shape. Thank you for the English. Shape. It gives you more definition around the bust. I don't think I have a picture on the slide. I would have showed you. I hope you understand. In your various classes, all of this will be done. In your various classes, so don't be bothered. We just want to run through the theory before we go into the practical. So once the contouring is done, then you go to designing. Designing, this is it. You design on your paper, you get to see it in your classes. So bear with us while we explain. So this is the designing, then definitely manipulation has come in. Definitely, who knows, alteration has come in. You never can tell. The alteration thing happens while the person comes for fitting, but we are going down that list soonest. So moving to the next one. The male bodice pattern making. Freehand method of cutting Google. Basic trouser pattern. Our basic trousers pattern. From the basic one, we can always design. We can always manipulate. We can always create something different. There's no harm in trying. They say mistake done by fashion designers is a design. There's nothing called mistake in our industry. Oh, this is it. Style manipulation, contouring. All of this will be practicalized in the class, so just keep calm and learn what we discuss. Then when it comes to cutting, before you can go ahead to cut, there's something that must have sat well within you. You need to have interpreted the style to yourself. Please, can we have a design on the screen? You must have interpreted the design to yourself. Oh, this design has, what do we have here, please? Next. Okay, what do we have here? A plain fabric. We don't know if it's bridal, we don't know if it's duchess, we don't know if it's correct. But all of these things you need to be sure, so that you don't tell stories, lullaby story to your customers. Then we have corsets. Can we see the corset? The construction is there already. We have nude nets. We have, okay, there's no trimmings in this one. Okay, this is another one. We have what here? Trimmings, corsets, nets. What kind of nets? Nude nets. Okay. Yes, we have padded eaves as well. Okay, how about this? We have velvet. Okay. Okay. Nobody has even mentioned the underlay. Do you know what we call the underlay? What is very nice here. We are going to practicalize these things. When you have your lace, Mr. Ayo showed us different types of laces that we have. We have the lace, we have the mesh, we have the net ones that they just put small flowery designs on it. Trust me, some people wear it though, but if you know you're comfortable with it, why not rock it? But if you're not comfortable with it, try and get underlay. We call it, my Igbo people call it backing. What? Backing. The backing can be crepe, the backing can be bridal, the backing can be duchess, can be satin. I think you are familiar with the word satin. Yeah. Bridal satin. The head that you put under your lace. That is what I mean by underlay or backing. So we have, when it comes to cotton, I was talking about cotton before we went to talking about this time. Cotton, you must have interpreted the style to yourself, know what you want to do, then pattern. When you pattern from your basic bodies, your basic skirts, manipulate your basic sleeves, haven't done that, then the next thing is, okay, I need to cut. When you want to cut, you need to calculate. Because this work, you can't afford to make mistakes. If you make mistakes, then be sure that you can get the fabric in the market. And there are some customers that they know when it is not theirs. It is the same thing, but they know. This thing has to do with personality. But you have to be very careful. Let nobody brainwash you that it is hard. When it comes to designing, it is not hard. It's a thing of the mind. It's a thing of determination that this person has done it. I'm going to do better. So Aso Ebi or no Aso Ebi, don't let it feel I'm not going down that lane. My dear, there is money in Aso Ebi. There is so much money in Aso Ebi. So don't get it twisted. So you just need to put yourself together. Okay, I need to cut the lining first. I need to cut the bridle first. I need to cut the bust side. And when you're cutting, bear in mind every other part, when I mean every other part, when you are cutting this side, assuming this is the design you want to do, on your fabric, remember to add half-inch allowance. That's the 0.5 centimeter. When it comes to cutting, add your allowance to 0.5 centimeter. Every other part that I mean, please hold on to other parts. The other part is this place, is 0.5. The other part is this place, is 0.5. The other part is the waist, to join to the skirt, is 0.5. But when it comes to inches, at this point, inches, we are not talking about centimeter now. Because I told you earlier that when it comes to Aso Ebi, it's a mixture of pattern drafting and freehand. Don't get it twisted that you don't need freehand. In Nigeria, if you are outside the country, you don't need freehand. But if you are here in the business in this industry, you need it. Even if you don't work with it because you have a better knowledge of what to do, you need to have an idea. As a designer, you need to know small everything going on in your industry. So when it comes to the side seam, this is the side seam. For me, I use 2 inches. You know, the way it is in Nigeria, you can grow fatter anytime, anytime. So using 1 inch or half inch, is too, let's use 2 inches or 1.5. Because when it's too much, it's going to be bulky. So bear that in mind. There are some fabrics that don't even give you room for 2 inches because they are bulky already. And when you are doing this, and customer will not understand that it's for our own good. The next thing is, why is this thing bulky here? Why am I hiding this thing? So that is why you need to understand fabric. You need to understand what you are doing per time. So that you can know when to add 1.5, you can know when to add 2 inches, or you add 1, or you add half. For those that can manage fabric very well. You've not seen someone that wants to sew Aso Ebi and bringing 2 yards and wants to sew regalia. Don't collect though, please. Don't do it. It's a headache. It's headache. So moving to the next one. Cost. This is where the fashionpreneur comes in. This is where, if you happen to study accounting in school, if you happen to study business admin in school, this is where your skills comes in. You cannot be all round and don't know the business of the thing. One is going to go back to his or her age, and I'm very sure nobody wants to go back to his or her age. So you need to know the business side of fashion, costing. When it comes to costing, I have Mr. Can I have a design on it? Thank you. Thank you. When it comes to costing, I'm a client. I have come to you as a client that I need to make a dress, Aso Ebi. I want to stand out though. The reason why it is called Aso Ebi is for everybody to show what they've got. In the sense that when I enter, I know that I have entered. In the sense that when the party is over, you keep talking about paying. Did you see what she wore yesterday? That is what Aso Ebi is majorly about. Because they want you to keep telling the story. And there's no problem. Bring the fabric, let us see what you want to do. Sometimes if you are very gifted, you sketch for the customer. If you are not very good with it, you can, send in pictures for them to see. Send in pictures for them to see. Then haven't sent the picture. Then in your mind that you are talking with the customer, because you need to be professional about whatever you're doing. As you are talking with the customer, you are already calculating how many yards of bridal? 4 yards. How much is bridal? How much is bridal? Those are in the market, please. Let's start calculating like that. Bridal. Then the next thing I'm looking at, okay, I'm trying to need in showing fusible interfacing with that Mr. I just discussed for this side to stay. I'm already calculating half yard. I'm already calculating how much does that cost in the market. The next thing I'm calculating the zipper. What are we calculating again? The thread, thank you. What else? The stay. The lining. What they need to. Now wow. What are that again? Apply, thank you. What are that thing? Crinoline. No, don't go to your time yet though. Calm down, don't go to your time. Crinoline, right? So all of these things in your mind as you are talking to your customer. If you have your phone with you, you're already typing how many gadgets you are using, how many pieces, how many. Then you start putting the prices against each of these things. I hope somebody jotted all of these things down. Then you start putting your prices against it. Then having done that, you calculate the total. Don't forget though, you will not fly to market. Transport fare. And don't forget, the person they go market, we do what? The person will take yogurt, right? Like one of our friends will say, I want to take Domino's. And Eggo now, all of those things you calculate, you put it into cost. Then for every dress, there's a total amount, markup. There's a total amount you want to pay yourself. Okay, assuming, for every dress I get, I want to pay myself 7,000 naira. That 7,000 naira, even if I enter plane to Katangwa to go and buy clothes of Ghana, I will not touch it though. That 7,000 naira is for me. So definitely every other thing I'm doing, I am calculating it. And I'm calculating the fabric and I'm putting it together. So definitely we are calculating the material cost. Please jot these things down. Material cost, trimming cost. Remember to calculate the nitty-gritty of your trimming. Trimming is expensive. So don't get it twisted and get excited about the design and don't calculate all of these things. Trimmings, then you get to, then that's material cost, trimmings cost. Then the next thing is operative cost. Operative cost, we have the administrative cost there. We have let me check. Under the operative cost, we have all of this we mentioned earlier. That's the beads, the underlay, the loop net, and all of those things. So don't forget material cost, trimming cost, and the operative cost. When you are done calculating all of these things, that contains cost of production. Assuming our cost of production is 15K. Remember I said 7K is for me. 15K plus my markup. That's how much? 22K. And before you charge, look at the competitors around you before you charge. Sometimes people charge on the competitors around them. If my competitor is collecting 25K, okay, I am doing better, but I want them to know me. Can you pay me 23K to do this job? That's all. Okay, now the next thing is for you to look at based on demand. Before you can charge, based on demand. You see this style is raining now. People want to sew this style. Okay, you charge based on demand. Did you get? And okay, this is based on cost. The one that is based on cost is what we've done earlier. The material cost, the training cost, and the operating cost. So all of those things, let it be in you, let it be in your mind as you calculate for Aso Ebi. It will help you to navigate your way through the industry. And the next thing is how to handle fitting. When it comes to fitting, we have different personalities that comes for fitting. Some customers will annoy you. They not want the dress. They already say, bring let me see. And you're like, what took me days to fix? But well, she paid for it. You can choose to feel the way you want to feel. She paid for it. So try to manage people's excesses. Try to manage people's emotions. Try to manage people's personality. Everybody cannot be you, and you cannot be everybody. And sometimes when they wait, they're like, oh, you really try. I like the fit. Wow. Then the next thing they bring out their phone, they start doing the video. Do you understand? So you need to know how to manage customers when it comes to fitting. The reason why it is called fitting is because there can be one or two things that you need to fit. It is not perfection. You are not coming for perfect fit. Before you can come for perfect fit, that means you must have come for fitting once or twice. So if you don't get it once, don't feel bad. That is part of the work. Okay, fine. We will fix it. And once there is a dent, you don't have to spoil your face because your expressions to customers matter a lot. They're like, it seems this person cannot fix this problem. The next, no, you don't think you can do it. So you need to be professional about this job. You don't bring in friendship into business. No, it will crash. So let's be straight. Strictly business. So even if she's your friend and you have gone wrong, please, I'm very sorry, ma'am. I'm very sorry, ma'am. After business, you can always, relate better. Then meeting up with delivery time. If you know you cannot meet up, please don't collect the job. Please, your integrity, your value, your honesty, your person is at stake here. And it takes years. It takes a whole village to fix a brand. It takes a whole family to fix value on the person. So please don't trash all of these values. Don't trash all of these things that have been placed on you. Actually, some people actually work on themselves to have those values. And I know that you know what it takes to place value on yourself. So if you know you cannot meet up, please don't. But if you can meet up, check your balances. Check your plus and minus. Check with your in-house people. When I mean in-house, you can't do this work alone. Check with your tailors. Check with your production manager. Check with the accountants. And check with the manager. Who and what are we delivering to this week? Can we collect this piece and deliver in 2 days? If she tells you no, please, don't be greedy to collect money. See, your value is even much more than money. Integrity is much more than anything we can imagine. And I know we know that. Client pressure, it's not yet their delivery date, they are calling you. Hello? You know it's on Thursday and it's already Sunday she's calling you. You know it's on Thursday and I need the clothes on Thursday. Meanwhile, the clothes is already under production. So you need to be calm to listen to people's problem. You need to be calm. Don't let anybody place you under any pressure.
What is called, you need to be able to analyze what is called proper design thinking. And if you cannot think as a designer, then you are not fit to be a full-fledged Aso Ebi designer. Don't rush it. If you can't be in that category, stay in your lane. Because it's not just like I'm trying to order something from Dior. You know that if you are going for Dior, you are actually going for the highest standard of what, let's say, design delivery that you can get anywhere. That shows that it's expensive and it's luxurious. So now, the Aso Ebi thing is not for designers that are still upcoming. Maybe I should put it that way, you ring your head. But then the school is trying to make it in a way that you can have an understanding of what it takes to become a qualified Aso Ebi designer. And one of the important things about this is for you to understand that there are some things that place in the context. See, we cannot bear our designer names, but what the end product of your design analysis does, either via experience or what you are able to display outside, because if you don't display your creative ability or magic, nobody knows you or trusts what you can do. And that is why the categories of people that you see online on Instagram, they are people, when they charge for their Aso Ebi designs, you can see that they are calling crazy fees. And they are dealing with expensive fabrics. So which shows that the same attitude that is expected from a high-end classic design is what the school wants you to show when they are also doing your own Aso Ebi designs. Now back to the aspect of the component. Now we have mermaid dress, we have off-shoulder dress. Now it will be very difficult for any person that is not in the fashion industry to just be able to design an Aso Ebi that falls into a mermaid category. Now, and I was talking about the aspect of being able to define your concepts. First, you know, the last time we talked about color, I was talking about you understanding that elements of designs are the PowerPoint of every creative designer. And what are the four elements? The first is lines. The second is color. The fourth is the texture. And the fourth is the shape. Now, you understand that when you look at online and you are comparing what designers have done, you'll be seeing those with what the relevant design, right? And they will tell us that what I ordered, that is what I got. Now, what is the impression? Sometimes some people just feel that you want to do the Aso Ebi because you want to tag along. But it is not a feed for you to tag along, because when you are not creative or you are not competitive, you can't deliver. Because one of the most important value in Aso Ebi branding is the fact that what your elements of designs are intact. Now, when we talk about lines, now lines are details that you see in any designs. Now, if you look at this now, picking up lines and elements of design that I was talking about, lines are the details, the seam lines, the coordination. Your ruffles effects are lines, details on your garments. Now, when a young designer that is trying to trend does not understand basic elements of design, how would you achieve a particular design when you come across it? And that's why you have to engage your creative thinking to be able to analyze the design first. There is one thing to be able to draft pattern. There's another thing to be able to sew on the machine. The third aspect. Now, 3 triangles makes a good designer. How you can analyze, why, how you can sew, and what? Your drafting sense. And now, if the school has been able to help you to be able to balance the 3 angles, you need to be able to sharpen the other. Because it is one thing for your instructor or the school to have a package that pushes you to be able to understand how to draft and how to sew. Then how much can you be able to do design analysis yourself? And that does not come by magic, it comes by channeling your skill. You have to sharpen it over time. And which is why when you look at runway designs, you embrace the level of risk that designers take to show out. And most times they're not trying to show off, they're just trying to give what they have. Now back to my elements of design, which I mentioned before. Now, I won't talk about the color because we already dealt with that in the last master class, right? But now, what I'm talking about here is that once you understand what your design is, without understanding, you cannot do anything pattern drafting. I just talked about lines now, Abi. And your line talks about what details that are important to the design. The second thing is texture. Now, when they talk about texture, it's very easy to even denote. Now, textures are what we can actually feel about each fabric that we are using. And we've been able to categorize different kinds of fabric that we can see in what the fashion sector that you can use to achieve a particular design. We have velvets. The way you handle a velvet is very different. The way you're going to handle organza. The way you play with mesh, or the way you handle the details on corseted, ruched Aso Ebi dress with probably slitted or sexy lines are different from the way you're going to handle the one that is meant for just a royal occasion. So each design that you come across will tell on your level of skill. Now, as much as it's a master class, there's an aspect of whereby we all go back to class and do the practical aspect. But first is, can the designers we have in the room understand what it takes to engage yourself to think and do accurate design? Even though it's not accurate, it should be near normal. So, because you're in the fashion school, it's easier for you to correct the norm. What I ordered. Now, if they give you as a fashion student in the school, I don't understand that what I'm seeing on this particular design is a ruffles. How would you be able to even pattern a ruffles? I would with me. Yeah. Now, if you are seeing a common Aso Ebi, because now, don't be disguised or don't be carried away by the fabric. Now, designers need to also be composed. You have to be very, very composed. There is one thing, and because of the kind of environment we have, we are not used to what is called mock-ups. Now, what does mock-up do for a designer, even abroad? They do that a lot. They have to first make a first sample copy of their design before they even go ahead doing any kind of sewing. But because here we are like fast and furious, we just want to do it as it is. Yes. Now, you already know that, that's what I said, the Aso Ebi is a fragment of one narrative of what happens in the whole fashion sector. Do you get me now? Aso Ebi is so engaging, it goes with emotions of the person wearing it. So if you mess up, you are messing up with the person's identity. Are you with me? I am not here to motivate, but I'm just trying to make sure that I can captivate the main motive and the goal of this master class. The school is not going to push all the 1,000 designs that we will see on Instagram into your head. But the first thing is for you to, as student of designs, you have to be able to like sit down and analyze. Now don't forget that even the class do not actually, sorry I'm looking at my time, even the class do not actually talk about the aspect of having an organized or a well-managed studio. Now, designers here, we don't even have studio. You know, even your room can become a studio whereby when you enter to sew, you are inspired already. Not that when you are in the room to sew, you are distracted. It doesn't happen for a normal or designer's lifestyle. And because of the way we've been so trained, and Instagram with Pinterest has lured a lot of designers away from the track. So we don't think anymore. What we do is that we always look for designs to copy. So how do you be able to manifest the magic of your creative sense? For me, I'm not you, you're not me. I can't become anything when it comes to design. But the point is, first, do you understand a design and can you analyze it when you see it? That is everything about the aspect of components of design. Because in components, if you see what I'm wearing now, you can detail what I have on me, right? Now, I have this, right? There's no sleeve, right? I have necklines, I have buttons, the trouser has pockets, it has elastic at the back, it has a band. Those are the first thing. Now, for every designer that is upcoming, there's what we call detailed analysis that is called the spec detailing. Now, when you have a design like this, either sketch or non-sketch, what you do first is to take your pencil and stroke each of the details that you have seen for the design. It's very important. Now, I'm looking at this particular one now. I can see that there is a detail here. It is left to me in my imagination because I have understanding of first. Now, you know, we need to also learn how to update ourselves. Every designer must have what we call design thinking. It's important. I'm saying it all over again because you need to learn how to think and what break into smaller units what you see with your design. And that's why if you don't do it, you will see the designs that you can undo and you'll be afraid to approach it. Do you get it now?
Yes.
Sometimes the design might be higher than your level, but because you have instructors around, they can guide you. But first, analyze. Do you get it now?
Yes.
So now when I see this, I know that I have a sleeve detail that looks like a leg of mutton here. And it has a gathered and it's puffy and it has a slim man. So I know that on my sleeve pattern I need to what manipulate. Now the other instructor was talking about contouring. Now contouring only happens in the place of design interpretation. You can't contour anything on your cut out fabric. So everything is in stages. So now when you drafted your first skirts or your first bodies, you showed your instructor, they say, okay, something is wrong here. What do? You go backward and correct. But now, if you're not trying to do a sewing of a style that is higher than you, now your instructor guides you or puts you through. Now, whatever you do before cutting is called manipulation. Are we together? So everything you do before you start cutting is manipulation, and whatever you are able to do from your basic skirt to the next skirt is called what? Design what? Interpretation. So you can manipulate from basic to another. So it takes knowledge to be able to do all those things. Are we together? So now I can see this now. I know that this dress has what? A tail. And the tail is what? Circular. So I already know that in my mind, it's that I do slash and spell with my pattern, and when I have everything in place, I know each of the things I need to cut. So that's the first thing that you must be able to do with your what? Components. Analyze each design and know what next to do. Now the next design I have, I can see that I have a tube, right? Huh? Then now you can be like an illusion neckline as well, because there is a tube, then there's another particular design of that I used to just like disguise the exposure of the neckline. So someone else can decide to like, I don't want to put anything, I just want to be my body. Somebody can say I'm not comfortable, I want you to have a mesh in between. But then when you see some designs, they are complex. Because if you don't have the skill or the skill set, you will achieve it. If you want people to attempt it, you'll be angry with yourself. Because to even fix a mesh in between a neckline properly, it takes what? It takes both sense and what? Calmness. If you are not patient when sewing, you will mess up with the process. Are we together? So understand that in your component, when you see a design, the first thing that should come to mind is to first break it down with your head. For me, I can't sew without first analyzing what I need to do. But when you've gone ahead to cut and sew, to do the pattern, and you now realize there's a mistake, then that means you have messed up. But when it comes to Aso Ebi, you cannot make that mistake. So if by the time we are going to be doing this Aso Ebi masterclass practical now, and your instructor is seeing something that is wrong with your work, then that means either the person or the group has missed a point. So they will not chastise you or like cancel your work totally, but what they will do, they're just like, you need to correct it, lose it, or go and start all over again. Because when it comes to your customers' work, you cannot start all over again. And don't forget that if you are going back to custom made, then that means you must have the requisite skill or workforce in place. If you are not the one sewing it, because we are executive designers, I mean, you have to have people in place that understand the assignment. And you have to be watchful. Because this is your brand going out. So that's another thing entirely that which at least she has dealt a little bit about it. Then one thing that you should understand again is that the business part of fashion is not by the fact that you have studied accounting before, or you have studied economics, or you have been in one particular position. Business part of fashion is entirely out of the context of the economic world itself. Because what's obtainable in the fashion industry is not obtainable anywhere else. I can debate it anytime because I'm there. And because you are also a student now, you can understand some things that you have not seen before. Do you get it now? Yeah. For you to even sit down and sew, it's not easy. Are we together? Yeah. Now, back to another part of the element is the aspect of the shape. Now, if you look at it, that one thing that makes you that excites you, that is most intriguing when you look at Aso Ebi is what? How everything was able to balance on the person, right? Now, do you think it's a small job for those that have done and the shape is well accentuated? Either you are curvy, or you are plump, or you are extra large. Once they sew on you, it should fit the body. Do you get it now? Your shape is somebody that is plump now and is going to Aso Ebi like somebody like this girl in ghetto, this Badmus now. The fact that she's big and she doesn't look like this Shingo. She's still big now. No, but not extra big. But if you look at her now, she still was able to rock and appear in what Aso Ebi contest, and she's still rocking big. Now that's to show you that you also have to understand the element of getting the perfect fit of any garment you sew on anybody. Either you are big. Once I look at you, I'm able to even like, wow, this is amazing. That's one of the things you must understand about elements of your design. And that is why you always appreciate each Aso Ebi that you see. Look at this one. See the way it is so perfectly looking on her, like see, she's a body form. You get it now? So that is one thing about your element. So element plays a long role in making you develop or grow in the fashion school. If you don't embrace it, you will not become better. And be ready for more no from your instructor. Go and lose it. The person knows what to say. Nobody's going to tell you to lose the clothes or start over again because they want to punish you. Do you get?
Yes.
But then when you see something that is not good, that is not fine, even most of us here, if you give your clothes to customers to do for you, you will always check and scrutinize more than required. So how much more the quality you want to take should be the quality you want to also deliver. Now another thing is about the texture. Now there are some fabric that you cannot undo. What do? Run away. Run though. Yes, that's the truth. Do you know? Now you might have sewn a skirt with cashmere or calico, perfectly fitted the sewing. If they give you to sew the same pencil skirts with a mesh fabric, you will mess up. Or a chiffon. So now the school also gives you a room to grow and practice with different fabrics at per time. So those are the things that when you play with your element, in fact, now you understand it to be about element, right? So when you talk about elements, you understand that okay, they are talking about this. So for those of that have done skirts, you understand that when you see ruffles, now how do you get ruffles? You get ruffles by doing what? Pulling gathers. Now when you cut a flounce or like a flare, and you gather, what do you get? You get a flounce effect. So once I see something on a dress, I know that's a flounce I'm going to use here. Are you with me now? So all these things are very important. Now to round it off for this section, I want us to understand that there is another important aspect of the Aso Ebi that is missing out in some context. And that's why some designers still fumble, apart from people that are their A game. I don't want to mention names so that they won't feel overhyped. As I'm a designer, I will not hype another person. I can only learn. Because you have to also show. Now, it's what we call the principles of design. Now, the principles of design deals with your ability to bring out a design from nothing into full bloom. I've given you fabric. I've given you the measurement. Go and produce. So now, if you don't even know how to arrange your fabric, put colors together, and use your interfacing, put lining. Some people say, I've seen some of us that most times you are still bringing, you are not ready to learn from the process the school is going to put you through. You are still using the old school method outside, where you will use your lining to turn the fabric, and you now come and show your instructor, I'm done. Do you get it? And meanwhile, when we look at ready-made sewing that are broad designs that we buy, either in stores, those people, our senior, they will not turn any kind of fabric with it. And most times they always have a special technique for every seam detailing. So you must always be ready to ask questions that what's the proper way of finishing a particular kind of garment than the other, than you just assume this that is sold. Do you get it now? I'm talking with eagerness not because I'm angry, but I'm saying that you can become better without using stress. You know what? We're not even between fashion. The difference between the fashion school and the outside school is that you are more organized than them. So So when they now tell you that when you cut and you do pattern, maybe it took you 2 hours to do pattern and it took them like a few minutes, how would they judge you? They will judge from what? The sewing and the finishing. Every fashion designer in the room should develop his or herself in a way that it looks so adequate to what? To complete a design and also what? Take the job. Are we together? So for now, this is where I'm going to wrap it up on the Aso Ebi first round column of this master class. So at this point in time, we'll leave like 5 minutes for question and answer. So now, since the next one is just question and answer, please bear in mind that coming next month, Fabric Week, starting from next Monday now, the school will be doing thorough, detailed Aso Ebi work. And at this point in time, it's going to be like a group work. So the group work, the school is expecting designs that we have not seen on screen. I think, should I repeat myself? Yes. Okay. I should come again. You need the ball? I should not come again? Yes. Okay, good. So what I mean to say is that now we are expecting out of the box Aso Ebi of any nature. So bear in mind that it's going to be very intensive. It's going to be so engaging, and this time around you're working with different kind of people in your group. So expect that in mind, and it's going to start on Monday because you just have like 4 weeks to execute it. Everybody, all the whole school. I think beginners will have their own package of newbies. You have your package. Yes, everybody going to have at least, many things are inside Aso Ebi now. We have embellishment, we have a lot. But it's in the class that we're able to like deal with those like one after the other. So at this time, I would like us to ask 1 or 2 questions. Anybody from all the things that we talked about. If you have anything that is bothering your mind, you can ask the question about it.
We were talking about, what other thing did we talk about again? All of those things, we just use the word, what? Appliques. The same thing as the training. We just use the word trimming cost. It's together on that code. Material cost, trimming cost, then the operating cost.
Is there any difference between the operating cost and the workman cost?
Okay, remember I told you that we have the...
Let's do wait.
One house, please. One house, please. Remember I told you that there's something we call...
so that you all can move at the same time, please.
There's something we call markup. Wait. Markup is what you pay yourself, your profit. So the operating cost, what other thing did you mention?
Just wait so that everybody can go at the same time.
The operating cost, what contains the operating cost is this. The administrative cost, the material cost, and then the trimming cost. All together gives you the operative cost. Operative cost plus markup is going to give you the total price you are giving your customer. I hope I've been able to answer your question. Thank you.
So, next question, please. Anybody with questions?
You're measuring like the bar to the weight, and so I don't know if I'm measuring the customer like that. I don't know if they ask me why am I measuring from back of the neck to the back of the face. So I don't know. It was so many measurements.
So you said we're many and you're taking that kind of measurement on your clients. If your client asks you why you're taking the measurement, that means the person wants to know what you're doing. You understand? So professionally, you should just answer the question that, okay, I'm trying to do what? My job. Simple as that. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So asking that, okay, you are taking this measurement or that, is the person, as in, he or she wanted to help you so you help in your work. So that question is actually not necessary from your client. Or if the person asks, Just tell them that is the procedure in making your outfit, so I'm trying to do my work. So thank you. So we've come to the end of the master class today, and thank you, and we appreciate you for coming around.